Welcome back to the Light Up Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Peters, and I'm so excited to welcome Rebecca Whitman. Rebecca is an international best-selling author, abundance mentor, speaker, and she's the host of a top 1% globally ranked podcast called Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant. She's known for her powerful philosophy around the 7 pillars of abundance and helping people create more joy, freedom, and fulfillment in every area of life. Rebecca, welcome to the show. It's such an honor to have you.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the nice introduction, Samantha. And I think it's great that we met on a WhatsApp chat and now we are going to be on each other's podcast. I just love the beautiful synchronicity of life.
Yes, it's so magical. I remember the first time I was chatting with you, I'm like, wow, we are so in alignment in so many things that happens in our life and the work that we're doing. So I'm excited to dive into your story. I would love if you can take us back to the beginning and what was your journey like before becoming the abundance mentor?
Yeah, well, I never thought I would be like ranked top 5 entrepreneurs by USA Today or Mindset Coach of the Decade. I mean, I'm blown away by all that. I had moved to LA in 2001 to be an actress, which was a childhood dream of mine. And although I had small parts in big shows like Friends, CSI, and 24, I never quite caught a big break. And I was supporting myself working at children's acting schools, which I really loved because I don't have kids of my own and it's fun working with kids. And while the kids were off at their regular school, I was studying with great thought leaders about the law of attraction. People like Michael Beckwith, Esther Hicks, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, just to name a few. And I started seeing results in my life. The one area that did not improve was my love life. I had the
Mhm.
habit of picking emotionally unavailable narcissistic men and trying to change them, which was quite a sad and exhausting hobby. And I married someone hoping he would change, and he did not. And it just got really bad as far as toxicity and verbal abuse. And I decided to divorce right when my dad got admitted to a nursing home. And as my dad's life was declining, the marriage was unraveling. And my dad's funeral was on a Wednesday. My divorce was finalized on a Friday. And in my last conversation with my dad, he's like, the way you're living life is so different. I think you should write a book.
Mm.
So I honored his deathbed wishes. I wrote a book called How to Make a Six-Figure Income Working Part-Time. And in the book, I divide life into 7 key pillars, which I call my 7 pillars of abundance. And when you have all 7 areas of your life in alignment, you can be, do, or have anything you want. So now I'm happily married to my soulmate, and I coach women to go from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant through living a life of alignment, not the hustle and grind.
Wow, that is such a powerful story. And I'm really curious to know, was there a defining moment when you're like, okay, I'm not going to accept this behavior anymore from my ex husband? What was that was going through your mind in that moment when you were making a decision to file for a divorce?
That is such a good question. I remember it like it was yesterday. We were sitting in a therapist's office in West LA, and she had the most Zen vibe going, like incense and Buddhas and bone broth burning on the kitchen stove. It was a home office. And it was a stark contrast to how my husband and I were communicating because we were screaming, fighting at each other. And the therapist was like, stop, Rebecca. And she looked me dead in the eye and she said, Rebecca, do you want to be married? And a voice came through me that was not my own. And I said, I want a life of ease, grace, and spiritual dignity. And I knew in that moment that I could not stay in that marriage and that I was no longer willing to put looking good ahead of feeling good. And
Mm.
I realized that I just wanted to stay married and I was fighting for it because I didn't want to admit to my friends and family that I had failed. And from that moment on, my life changed.
That's so powerful. What do you think it is that makes women stay in these like narcissistic abusive relationships? Because my mother is still in one and she still defends my
Mm.
father and it's really hard to see, and especially growing up having that as my baseline for what a father should be and then what should accept from a man.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you because I also coach a lot of women on how to manifest their soulmate in
Mm.
midlife, and a lot of them are in first we have to get them out of the toxic relationship because they know they're not with their soulmate. I think it's fear of the unknown. They don't know, even it's like an old pair of outdated jeans, they're stained and out of style, but they just are comfortable. And these relationships are also very addictive. And people are more addicted to other people than they are to any drugs or substance. So you can have a love addiction, you can have codependency. And I think that addiction to the other person and what they're doing or not doing, people don't wanna look at themselves, and when they put all their effort and energy on another person and make it all about the relationship, then they don't have to do that deep healing work on their own issues. So that's why I think people get addicted to other people. And then, a lot of people stay for fear of financial insecurity because the finances can be a mesh, like home mortgages and credit cards and college loans and all this stuff, and people are they just don't wanna blow up their lives, and they don't know what's on the other side. But I will tell you from personal experience, now I'm married to my soulmate, and it's harmonious, and he's
Mhm.
supportive and loving, and we just cheer each other on, that it was so worth it. It was the hardest thing I did, and literally my hands were shaking as I signed my divorce papers, and I had to call the lawyer with a friend present. We did it on speakerphone because I was so scared, and I
Mhm.
was still in mesh until the very end, and, it was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I find so many women I talk to are still in toxic relationships. So, for anyone listening to this is your sign to do the really hard thing. And it's going to be so much better after you do it in the life that you create because now you're with your soulmate, which is incredible. I remember hearing this quote and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was, you can tell how much self love a person has by the partner that they choose. So, how can
Ooh.
someone bring self love into the equation and really look at themselves? Because we're all a mirror of the way that we feel about
Mhm.
ourselves.
What I learned was that because I don't believe in victim. I was
Mhm.
not a victim. I chose these type of men. I could like go to a party and, find the most narcissistic, like emotionally unavailable guy every time. So I definitely had a part in it. I was not just an innocent victim. So what I realized through doing my deep work is I talk to myself in a very harsh way. I achieved a lot, went to Princeton and was a nationally ranked tennis player, but I did it by being a vicious taskmaster to myself and constantly berating and criticizing myself. So I had internalized a very negative inner dialogue. So I would attract partners that would talk to me in a very hypercritical, unkind way, and then
Mhm.
as soon as I started to do the healing work on myself through therapy, through 12 steps, through just different methodologies that I did, and I started to love myself and be kind to myself and talk to myself with compassion, then I attracted my soulmate. His name is Ben, and
Mhm.
he talks to me with kindness and compassion because you don't attract who you want, you attract who you are.
Exactly. Where do you think those beliefs and that criticism towards yourself came from?
I think it was probably from my dad, because my dad was a total workaholic, and I was just doing whatever I could to be good enough to get his attention. I had to really achieve big time to get his attention.
Mhm.
So I just internalized that, oh my God, unless I'm perfect and win and get straight A's and win the tennis tournament and get into an Ivy League school, and then I'm not going to be worthy of his attention. So I
Mhm.
internalized, I think, his voice. And, as I said in the beginning of this interview, he's passed away in 2016. And I actually had a psychic tell me uh, that he is so sorry that he was basically had diarrhea of the mouth, and he knows that he was raging at me at times, and he's just so sorry, and that he loves me so much. And that was just such a beautiful healing moment that I had with that psychic, and I don't
Oh.
feel like I've internalized that voice anymore.
Mhm. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. And isn't it crazy how we go through all of these things in our childhood and create these coping mechanisms for ourselves to feel safe in the moment, but in adult they definitely aren't practical and they're not useful. But in the same token, if you didn't go through those challenges and you didn't do the deep inner healing work, you would not be the mindset coach that you are today. You would not be the person that you are today based on all of that. And I know it's hard going through it because I've been there too, very different circumstances, but the challenges that you go through, the hardships, the roadblocks are all setting you up for who you're truly meant to be. So, I mean, as hard as it is, would you have wanted your childhood to be any different, or are you at peace with how it was?
I am at peace. I
Mhm.
don't believe in focusing and trying to rewrite the past. I believe that everything happens for a reason and that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Everyone who's listening is exactly
Mhm.
where they're supposed to be. And I believe in radical forgiveness. And I like to say the affirmation I forgive everyone for absolutely everything, especially me. If they knew better, they would do better. They were doing the best they could with their own unprocessed childhood trauma and different coping mechanisms. And I just think forgiveness is way better than trying to rewrite the past.
That was beautifully said. I want to dive into the seven pillars of abundance. I know you mentioned what inspired you to create it, but can you briefly walk
Yeah.
us through maybe one of the pillars that most people are struggling with right now?
Well, first, I'll give you an overview of all of
Yeah.
them. So they are spirituality, fitness, emotions, romance, mental, social, and financial. And in my opinion, they're in order of importance. And spirituality is the most important one, having a connection with the divine, especially in the morning. And I'm a huge believer in journaling. So
Mm.
if anybody wants to grab a free journal, an abundance journal, it's not a physical journal. These are life-changing journal prompts that I've been using every single day since the 90s, and they've completely changed my thinking from negative to positive. So spirituality is the first one. The second one is fitness. I believe in scheduling your day around your health. And if you have health, you have everything. And if you don't have
Mm.
health, your number one goal is to get healthy. After fitness, it's emotions. I believe all emotions come from scarcity or abundance. We're having a conversation. Oh, there's not enough love. There's not enough money. I don't have enough energy. I don't have enough time. That's a scarcity conversation versus an abundance conversation. I have more than enough. There's more than enough love and more than enough money and more than enough time and I have more than enough energy. So it's about shifting it. And the fastest way to shift it is through a practice that I call the 4 A's of transformation. We can come back to that. After emotion is romantic, which we talked about. Your partner affects your life in so many ways, even on a cellular level. And it's so important to have a healthy relationship. It's definitely better to be alone and happy than be in a toxic relationship with somebody who's constantly tearing you down. After romantic, it's mental, and that's doing what we're doing here on this beautiful podcast, talking, learning, expanding our mind. But mental can be a creative pursuit, it could be a recipe, it could be traveling, anything that grows your mind. After mental is social, and I believe your vibe attracts your tribe, and having a community of like minded people that are really believing in your dreams and cheering you on and mentoring you and you mentoring other people is so beautiful. And people lack community now. After COVID, a lot of people went home and they never came out of the house. So I encourage everyone who's listening to find a community you love. And after social is financial. And everybody thinks that financial is abundance, but financial is one kind of abundance. And in my experience, the finances they will come to you because I call myself my nickname is the magnetic abundance mentor because when you are physically and spiritually fit and in love and have a great community and are learning every day and expanding your mind like on the Light Up Your Life podcast, you will attract people, places, and opportunities through the law of attraction, and you become magnetic. And I also believe that everyone should have at least 3 to 5 income streams because it makes your life diverse and fun. And it's not hedging your bets on one thing, but just diversifying your energy and your money and having several streams of income.
I definitely am in alignment with all of them that you mentioned. And one thing that I heard recently is that your net worth is directly correlated with your self worth. And so, can you speak a little
Oh.
bit more on that? Because I know that you went through a whole healing journey and a self love journey.
Mm,
And now, you're doing such incredible things and you're very successful.
yeah, self-worth to me was not accepting crumbs when I could have the whole cake. But
Mm,
I had to feel it about myself, and self-esteem is built by doing esteemable acts. I can't just affirm myself. I can say all the affirmations in the world, but if I don't believe them, they're not gonna affect me. So I really like helping people and being of service. That really helped my self-worth. And I like to say, when in doubt, focus out. Because when I just am self obsessed and worrying about all my little idiosyncrasies and the minutia of my life
mhm,
and just thinking about myself all day long, then I just get stuck in a spiral. But when I actually focus out and help people and see other people, that's why I love coaching women. I get to see their lives change and see their eyes light up when they get an epiphany or aha moment.
mhm.
And that is really what has helped build my self-worth.
That was beautiful. Yes, I found, in my early 20s where I was spiraling and I need to get out of this mindset and I need to go out and help. I need to do some sort of charity work or be of service like you said, and it just makes you feel so empowered that you're able to help even if it's in the simplest way. But I'm really curious to know, what are some signs that you believe when someone is out of alignment in their life?
Signs that someone is out of alignment would
Mhm.
be a lot of drama in your life. When I was out of alignment, I was having a lot of drama, not just with guys, but fighting a lot with friends, coworkers, just drama. I think that is a sign. Health issues are obviously a sign because whatever we think and say affects us on a cellular level. Resentment, if you have a lot of jealousy and resentment of other people who are successful, that means that you're out of alignment with your life and that you're comparing yourself to people. That's another sign that you're out of alignment. I'm just thinking of how I was because these are all the things that I did before I had my healing journey.
Mhm.
What else did I do? I would gossip a lot and I didn't feel good about myself. So I would talk negatively about other people and put them down to make myself feel better.
Mhm.
And then unmanageability as far as an addiction. Obviously, if you're addicted, you're out of alignment to anything. I don't care if it's online shopping, gambling, a substance, a person, like we said, codependency. And then just not wanting to leave your house. Like that is, if you just order everything in, just don't leave your house, don't want to talk to people, don't have the energy to go to anything in person, and you're just isolating yourself, that is a sign that you're out of alignment. So those are
Mhm.
some signs that I personally experienced when I was out of alignment.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced a lot of those too. And for everyone listening, really look at those and ask yourself if you're displaying them, because those are really important. One of the ones that you mentioned was comparing yourself to other people. We should only be comparing ourselves to who we were yesterday. And this question I've been dying to ask you. So we talked a lot about mindset. I know that you've been around so many of the law of attraction gurus and mentors, but how does mindset and subconscious beliefs actually affect abundance?
They really affect abundance, in a huge way because you could be doing all the right work. You could be holding your crystals and meditating and
Mm,
journaling and doing all the things. But if you have a subconscious, oh, this is perfect. So I can talk about my 4 A's of transformation. If you have a subconscious belief, which is basically a limiting belief about yourself that is deep in your subconscious, it doesn't matter if you do all the stuff on the surface. It's like, one of my coaches said it's like a shit scoop. Like you have the beautiful ice cream on the top, but underneath all the beautiful ice cream, there's a scoop of shit at the bottom of the cone.
Oh
Doesn't
gosh.
matter. So you have
Mhm.
to be willing to look at all that. But a way that I have reprogrammed my mind is the 4 A's of transformation. So a common limiting belief that I work with is, you know, there's no good people left. Like all the good ones are taken, I'll always be alone.
Mhm.
So I would ask my client, so what exactly is the belief? And she would say that all the good guys are taken. Okay. So the first A is awareness. Her limiting belief is all the good ones are taken. The second A is not to judge herself, not to say, "Oh my god, I've been listening to the Light Up Your Life podcast. I
Mhm.
should know better." Just accept it. That's the second A. Accept it. Okay, I have a limiting belief that all the good ones are taken. The third A is to do an affirmation that's not like, "Oh my god, I'm meeting my soulmate tomorrow at Starbucks," because that's way too far-fetched, and your subconscious will be like, "Yeah, right. You've been going to that
Mhm.
Starbucks every day for 5 years and you've never met anyone." So, it's a general, like, I love that there are so many possibilities out there. Very general, very believable. There's, 4 billion people on the planet, 2 billion of them are the opposite sex, so or even same sex, whatever you like is fine by me. So the affirmation would be, I love that there are so many possibilities for love out there. And then the
Mhm.
fourth A would be to take an action that is contrary to your limiting belief. So if I believe all the good ones are taken, I'm going to want to stay home and order DoorDash every night and not go out in my
Mhm.
house because what's the point? All the good ones are taken. So it would be to maybe go to a networking event or a speed dating or, commit to going on one lunch or coffee date a week on my day off, something like that. So that's and then eventually, if you keep doing the 4 A's of transformation about that limiting belief, you rewire your brain, you create a new neural pathway, which is like a highway in your mind, and you
Yes.
retrain your brain.
Those were so good, and I love the last one is action. When you do something out of your comfort zone and you make it your new normal, that it's just gonna be
Mhm.
so much easier to go to these networking events, to put yourself out there, to meet new people, to learn new information, and then to essentially create new experiences for yourself because you're starting to believe in a different way. Wow. Those were very, very powerful. I love
Hey,
that. What are some of your daily habits that help you stay aligned and in an abundance framed mindset?
well, I have a very extensive morning routine, and I'm one of the things I don't do that everybody says to do is not to look at your phone, but
Mm,
I'm like tracking everything on an Apple Watch and a Whoop watch. So I
yeah.
want to look at my phone when I wake up and see what my sleep score was and stuff. But so I wake up, I check my sleep score, I immediately put in my AirPods and start listening to affirmations. I am really loving the Lucky Girl affirmations on YouTube. They're really positive. I listen to a lot of Abraham Hicks too. Just I immediately start putting my brain in a positive way. And then I get lemon water with electrolytes and apple cider vinegar. I drink that to just flush my system out. Then I'll have protein and maca powder and a little bit of cream and cold brew coffee. Then I'll go to my corner of my house, which is literally right there, my
Oh,
little cozy corner that
mhm.
I've created, my sacred corner. And I have all my spiritual books. I have my journal. I will I mean, this abundance journal, you guys have got to download it. I met a woman when I was 19 years old at one of my first 12 step meetings. Her name is Janet. She gave me 5 questions to ask myself every day and I have not missed a day journaling out these questions. They will take your thinking from negative to positive and help you process your reality and see the lessons and the blessings and whatever's going on. celebrate your wins, celebrate other people's wins, and learn
Uh-huh.
from what their experience is. It's just these journal prompts are life changing. So I do my abundance journal. I'll read from spiritual literature. I have a lot of daily meditations and readers. Then I try to do 5 minutes of meditation. To be honest, I don't do it every day because I've already listened to the affirmations and stuff as I'm getting ready. But in an ideal morning routine, I do 5 to 10 minutes of listening to a guided meditation. And then I do my workout. It could be weights, it could be tennis, it could be yoga. It depends on the day.
Uh-huh.
I do the workout, then I start my work day, and I really like prioritizing my spirituality and my fitness and my emotions in the morning. That's 3 out of the 7 pillars, because then I have a lot of energy and confidence to pour into the rest of my day, which is 5 different businesses. Then I try to wrap up, around 6, 6:30. I have dinner with my husband every night, and then we usually just watch something on TV, and sometimes we go to events. We both love to dress up and we love to socialize,
Uh-huh.
but that's pretty much my routine. It keeps me feeling integrated between these 7 pillars. I don't feel like I'm a gym rat. I don't feel like I'm a
Yeah.
workaholic. I'm not a love addict where I have to spend every second monitoring my husband's comings and goings. Like, he's not
Uh-huh.
even here right now. He's at a networking event. So it's just a beautiful way to live, and my days kind of have like a rhythm to them and a harmony. I know people don't like the word balance. It's more like harmony. Like, all 7 areas of life, all 7 pillars of abundance are like instruments in a beautiful orchestra.
Oh.
And some of them I play more than others, but they all just make a beautiful holistic life.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. That balance means harmony. And I have to call out, you are actually living what you said you do every single morning, right? You're not just talking
Yeah.
about the 4 A's or the 7 pillars of abundance. You're actually incorporating that in your life. And I think that's so powerful. And I mean, you listed
Thank
so
you.
many things that I do for my morning routine, but I'm sure that's not what it looked like all the time, right? For me, I had to implement one at a time and then it create
Mhm.
that subconsciously for myself and move on to the next one. So, what would your recommendation for anyone listening to this to start creating a morning routine that's in alignment with them?
Yeah, I would just say the first thing is to find your designated space, your sacred space where you're going to connect with the divine. Like, I just showed you mine. It's a cute little cozy corner of a couch with a table next to it with my crystals and my books. Even if it's just a walk-in closet where you feel like, maybe you live in a crazy household with a lot of kids, or people are, fighting or whatever. Like, this is your cozy, safe corner where you feel that you can breathe, relax, really just lean into your relationship with the divine. So the first step is just to find an area. The
Mhm.
second thing is just do one thing that you can do every single day. So I really like the miracle morning. He talks about the savers, which are scribing, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and I forget what the other S is, but just pick one thing, whether it's a 5 minute guided meditation, or deep mindful breathing, or even it could be just reading one page a day from a self help book that
Mhm.
is inspiring to you. Just one little thing. And if you block out 5 minutes and that becomes a routine, then you can start habit stacking and adding more things. But I think if anybody's listening who doesn't have a morning practice, find a space and just pick one of those habits that you can do every day. Oh, that's because I don't do it. The first S is silence. So the morning miracle morning, because I don't know what silence is. No, I'm just
Mhm.
kidding. Silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is journaling. So pick one of those,
Yes.
set aside 5 minutes, and talk about self-worth. I think having a routine in the morning really has helped my self-worth.
Yes, I agree. It does build up self worth and the self confidence, which has helped me tremendously. Those were all really great. I love this conversation. To wrap up, I always like to do a fun this or that challenge. So,
Ooh,
are you ready?
I like this. I'm so ready.
All right. So, the first one is vision board or journaling?
Journaling, but I do both, but journaling, I prefer that. Yep.
Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers. I'm done with my heels phase, but now, like at this stage of my life, since I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to feel good more than look good, I'm all about sneakers. I even wore sneakers under my big white wedding dress, but they had rhinestones on them. So
Oh,
definitely sneakers.
yes. Feeling comfy is always a plus. Meditation or workout?
Workout.
Mm.
Yep.
Solo time or social time?
Solo time. It's very
Yes.
rejuvenating to me.
Mhm. I'm the same way as you. Would you rather have a luxury dinner or a cozy night in?
Cozy night in. But I wanna sprinkle in I mean, one of my things for romantic is to have 1 date night a week, but on a
Mhm.
regular basis, I prefer a cozy night in.
Yes. And last one, gratitude or affirmations? I know this one is tough.
Oh, wow, affirmations.
Okay.
I'm like the queen of affirmation, so also wanna give your audience a gift. It's called the Balanced Beautiful Bundle. You get a digital copy of my book, How to Make a Six-Figure Income Working Part-Time, and there's 21 affirmations in the book. Each pillar has 3 affirmations, and those affirmations have changed so many people's lives. So I'm a huge believer in affirmations.
Yes, they've changed my life too. I'll definitely link everything in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah.
I love how you articulate things in such a beautiful, easy way for people to understand. So I really appreciate you being on. And for all of you listening to this, we're sending you so much love and light.
Love and light. Thank you for having me, Samantha.